It's a nice day to sit next to the fireplace and fondle a gun. Well, guys, this is the new and exciting BCL-102 rifle from Black Creek Labs, previously known as Northeastern Arms. You'll notice that this looks a lot like an AR style rifle. Closest it resembles on the exterior would be an AR-10. The controls are all in the same places, so you have your magazine release here, safety lever's ambidextrous on this one, and then on the other side you've got your bolt release right there. Okay. You also have your charging handle, which is at the back, like most ARs, and you've got a dust cover, which is pretty common to direct impingement systems. This rifle features a 14-inch M-lock handguard. If you want to attach all your little doodads on there, this one's for you. That's a feature that usually is kind of an aftermarket for most AR-10 style rifles. We also have a fluted barrel here to lighten the front end of the barrel a little bit so that it doesn't feel as front heavy. This is a medium profile barrel that the first run has come out with. I suspect in the future they'll come out with lighter profile barrels as well. At the end we have a 2-chamber muzzle brake. It's NEA's kind of standard brake, and it's threaded for a blast shield to put on, so you don't have to bother your neighbors at the range. However, it doesn't come with that blast shield, so hopefully we'll be able to purchase that separately. The thread for the muzzle brake is 5/8 by 24, so that's standard 308 muzzle threading. If we go to the magazine well here, it'll fit most standard AR-10 or SR-25 style magazines. I've been told it doesn't accept the DPMS metal magazines because of the way they're manufactured. There's double thick steel essentially at the front of the magazine, and it's just a little bit too big to fit in the mag well properly without modification. Other than that, all other magazines have worked so far on these rifles. If we move further towards the rear, you've got your pistol grip. These can be exchanged for any AR style pistol grip. The triggers can be exchanged for any AR style trigger as well. I'm going to stick with the stock trigger. It breaks really clean. So I've already verified this rifle's empty. I'm just going to give the trigger pull so that you can kind of see. You'll also notice that the safety clicks positively as well. But basically the trigger's a little gritty, but it breaks really clean. So I like that clean break, and that's probably why I'm going to keep this trigger. Once I get rid of, well, I've already gotten rid of most of the grit, but a little bit more work on the trigger and she'll be good. Move to the rear of the rifle. We have a AR-10 buffer tube with a 6-position stock. This is the IMI TS1 stock, but it's basically rebranded for NEA, and I can't remember what the name is for it. It's some Spec Ops name or some such, but basically it's an IMI TS1 stock on the rear, which works just fine. The castle nut is staked on the back, so what that means is that they've basically put a little bit of metal in there so that the castle nut won't move. So if you're going to change that buffer tube, it's going to be a little bit harder than normal. You're going to have to remove that staked area. Nobody's switched buffer tubes on these yet, as far as I'm aware, so if you want to switch to, for example, an A2 style stock, you're going to need this straight profile buffer tube without this 6-position kind of adaptation to the bottom. And nobody's tried to switch it out yet, as far as I'm aware. So. Let's take a look on the inside of the rifle. Should have grabbed a pin so I can take this out a little easier. So these pins come out relatively easy. I just don't have any fingernails. Always handy to have a pocket knife. Alright. So pull out that pin, and she will fold. Alright, so we've got our standard AR style trigger group in there, our bolt release, the buffer's captive, which is a good thing because you don't want it flying out every time you take it apart. If you want to take out the bolt assembly, pull back on the charging handle, and it'll come right out. Okay. So this is a proprietary bolt. You're not going to be able to interchange AR-10 style bolts with this rifle. The gas key on this bolt carrier group is staked on, so that's good. It won't come loose on you. And then we've got kind of your standard AR-10 style bolt and bolt head. As with most of these rifles, it's a free-floating firing pin. That's pretty standard. So nothing too fancy. You'll notice it's got the 3 holes on the side, just like an AR-10, but the bolt profile is just a little bit different from what I understand. And notice my hands are dirty because I went and shot it yesterday. So we'll put that back in. Close her up. So, what about reliability and accuracy? So if we're going to get into those things, let's talk about the types of ammo I shot yesterday first. So I've only shot this rifle once. I put about 200, 250 rounds through it yesterday. I put Hertenberger Norinco Surplus 7.62 by 51 and my own hand loads through it. My hand loads were 150 grain, 165 grain, and 180 grain, just to see if it preferred one bullet weight over the other. Overall, it seemed to prefer the 165s and the 150s the most. The 150s seemed to group the best. Unfortunately, after about 3 rounds would be touching, and then the 4th and 5th rounds would kind of open up the group a bit to around 2 inches. So some more work needs to be done with that, and I'm actually going to be going out tomorrow. I just need kind of a life off day today. So it's going to be a lazy day for me. But yeah, I'm going to go out tomorrow. I bought a bunch of factory ammo. If I can remember offhand, it was Hornady 168 grain, BTSP match ammo, Hornady Superformance 150 grain, and was the, I can't remember the make. I think it was Hornady. It's a fancy 178 grain hunting load ELDX bullet, and then Federal premium ammunition with Sierra Game Kings of I think they were 165 grains. So I'm going to test that out tomorrow, then we'll see what kind of accuracy we can tease out. I'm hoping for, if I can get 1 MOA or better, obviously, I'll be a happy camper with this rifle. It's really tough to get semi-automatic rifles to shoot accurately, in my experience. It takes a lot of, like anything else, it takes a lot of technique, but also it needs to be fed the right ammunition. So that's kind of, the accuracy potential so far has been about 2 inches. It didn't like the 180 grain ammo, so we'll see what happens with those 178 grain bullets of the factory ammo. It fed all of the surplus ammo just fine. The only thing is with XERM pistol magazines, it didn't want to feed the Norinco properly. It was always, there were lots of failure to feeds and double feeds and stuff like that. I'm not sure what the deal was, but as soon as I put that Norinco ammo in this IMI magazine, it worked fine. Oops. So that was interesting. Those XERM magazines worked with all my other ammunition just fine, so I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but maybe, perhaps once the rifle gets more broken in, it'll work better. Perhaps it has something to do with the magazines. Okay, so basically, more or less, reliability is very good. It really depends on the magazine you're using and the ammo you're using. So I mean, don't use the Norinco ammo with the XCRM mags if you want reliability. But if you use that Norco ammo with any other mags, it runs just fine in my experience. So I would consider the rifle maybe halfway broken in at this point. I oiled her up nice and heavy for the first range trip, so that there'd be a little bit more give between the parts, so they can wear together a little bit more nicely. Yeah, overall, I mean, this is a really nice rifle for the money. I mean, people are complaining about the price, but if you look in the States for an AR-10 in a similar price range to this, if you can do the currency conversion, which would be like, I don't know, $1,400, $1,500 US, you're basically getting a rifle with similar features to this, and without a fluted barrel a lot of the time, without a nice muzzle brake. Usually these come with a flash hider. A lot of the time they'll come with just a basic standard stock, that kind of stuff. So, I mean, and this hand guard is really nice as well. So you're getting a lot for your money. I'm just going to touch on the fit and finish as well. So basically, there's no play between the upper and lower at all, which is amazing. I've never owned a firearm with an upper and lower like this that didn't have play, except for ATRS Modern Hunter, but that rifle's designed to eliminate play from the upper and lower the way they mate to each other. So the finish is really nice. It might look kind of blotchy right now, it's just because it's oily, partially because I was just handling dirty oil and touching it all over the place. But yeah, it's really even, nice finish on the rifle, and there's no machining marks on the exterior. If you look on the interior of the receiver, there's actually some machining marks, so just light ones, it's not a big deal. You've got the NEA logo on this side of the firearm. It's not recessed, it's actually protruding from the receiver, so should somebody want to remove it, they could mill that off. I kind of like it myself, it looks pretty cool. So that's my experience with this firearm so far. If you're wondering what kind of optic I have mounted on it, this is a Bushnell AR-223 3-12 by 40. And it's got the ballistic drop reticle on it. So it's just like basically for me it was a cheap budget option to slap on here, since I'm a student again, going back to school. My budget's fairly limited. So, and that's partly why I bought this rifle. So if we want to get into why people might want this rifle, for me it's an all-round use. It can fit several roles. It can fit hunting rifle role, it can fit tactical rifle role, like let's say heavy, you could shoot heavy metal with this, so that's competition shooting. And then you could also do precision shooting, assuming we can get it to shoot better, which I think we can. So I mean, even long distance precision shooting, if you're doing it for fun, can be done with a 2 MOA rifle, no problem. So, especially up to like 600 meters or even further. But overall, this rifle is awesome. I highly recommend you get one if you can get your hands on one. This was a rifle from the first pre-order, so I just got it, and then there's a second pre-order. That delivery is supposed to be in, well, it's probably going to be in October of this year, and then after that there'll be more rifles coming out. So if you're patient and you get on one of those pre-orders, you'll have one of these rifles, and I highly recommend you get one. This rifle is going to be a big hit in Canada, and I hope lots of people buy it, and so we can get people kind of out of that idea that tactical rifles are evil baby killing machines, which they aren't. They're just modern designs for rifles. Anyways, I'm not rambling too long. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to try to put up some video of shooting and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I don't have a cameraman to help me out, so the video is actually a little bit boring. I do my best to get some better video, just shooting by myself. And then we'll put that up as well. But for now, I'm just going to do a quick in-hand review, and then I'll put up some of that video later on. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you're not a member of CanadianGunNuts.com, I recommend you join. It's an awesome community for Canadian firearms enthusiasts. There's lots of information to be learned there, lots of funny moments to be had. So recommend you join there. And stay safe and have fun shooting. Driller out.